All right, so I was just rewatching one of my videos that I made 4 days ago that was entitled Trade Jumps Are the Situationship of Capitalism. And I put that script into ChatGPT and it generated the title Why Gen Z Treats Jobs Like One Night Stands. And if you've ever done with this before, I'm not saying that you have to or you should, but if you've ever had that situation where you wake up in the morning and you look over at her and you wonder how much what do you call it, hooch you had to drink in order to get you to do what you did last night. For instance, my one of my worst situations was ending up on the floor of a woman's bathroom, and I have vague memories of it, but I will always be ashamed. That's how I feel about work. You wake up in the morning, you look at the clock, you look at how much time you have to get there, and you feel ashamed. You feel dirty. You feel used. You feel ashamed. You don't tell people what you do. You just keep going to the job until someday, just like my coworker who walked into work at 9 o'clock in the morning, only not to be able to log into his computer anymore. That's the situation that a lot of people are going to find themselves in, because you don't get into these relationships out of desire. It's purely desperation. Sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you got to do things you're not proud of to survive. Ask any Susie Rottencrotch about working behind the Taco Bell. It's not about her enjoying what she does. It's about her having to do what she does. And I think we've all gotten to the point where we understand that it's time. You get to a point each day where your body automatically reacts it. For me, 7:59, I'm sitting at my desk. Suddenly it's 8 o'clock and my hands right here next to my keyboards. You look back and you say, be gentle, but you're assuming the position, buttocks in the air, and you know what's coming. That's work for most of us. And it's over after 8 hours. And at some point, someone's going to have to come by with some jumper cables and attach them to your boys and give you the motivation that you need to finish the day at work. Because let's face it, we don't have a lot of motivation to do well. A lot of the proletariat, especially in office jobs, is us pretending to be at the keyboard, just looking at the screen, pretending, all that workplace theater to maximize productivity. But the reality is that most of us could get our jobs done in an hour or in an hour and a half. The rest of the day is just spent just sitting there, staring at your phone, looking down at your feet, looking across the hall, and having mindless, meaningless NPC conversations with people who are in the same boat. They just don't understand what's happening. I think a lot of the low level people in our society don't really understand what's happening to them, how their lives are being stolen in crummy jobs and one night stands. Because you have to understand that something's wrong. If at no point during your day do you feel any enjoyment about being alive, or you're constantly stressed out about what Susie's going to give you, because remember, she gives you the gift that keeps on giving. And you have no choice but to get into that nasty, nasty bed with Evil Corp every single day. So let's get into our monologue. I didn't ghost the job. The job ghosted me first. It promised growth, then handed me a name tag and a script. It dangled opportunity like a carrot, but never showed me a real path forward. So I stopped pretending. This was anything more than a hookup. Short term, forgettable, and never worth catching feelings for. If you catch feelings for a low paying job, seek professional treatment immediately. If somehow you think you can get comfortable at $20 an hour, seek professional treatment. Because you need someone else to lie to you. You need a therapist to whisper in your ear that everything's going to be fine. You need someone like Dave Ramsey telling you that all you need to succeed at life is a better attitude. You need more people to gaslight you into believing what you're telling yourself, that you're okay, that $20 is enough to live off. Because if you can really do that, then you must be living at home, you're riding the bus, have no interest in a significant other, and beating or shaking hands with the governor as many times as you need to per day is something that you really need. And I'm the number one champion of meeting the governor. Talking point number one: jobs no longer offer commitment. Gen Z grew up watching their parents get laid off after decades of loyalty. The old model of stick with the company and you'll be rewarded collapsed into unpaid internships and gig work. If jobs now come with no benefits, no stability, no upward path, then treat them like temporary flings is a logical act of self protection and not laziness. I've been saying this on this channel for years. The day of the job is over. And it has been over for a long time. These companies have worked out new schemes. They're constantly scheming against their employees, right? I see it every single day. Show up at work, got no job. And every day they let you know how temporary you are. In fact, I hear it all the time at my current job. It's like, well, we're going to try to get rid of you because it's not working out for you here. And I look at the person that's saying these things and I look at them. It's like, you are just as replaceable as anyone else you say that to. In fact, I love hearing stories about how management torment their employees. And suddenly someone from upstairs comes down on them and says, you know what? We're going to fire you and we're going to give your job to the person that you want to fire. That has happened so many times over the last few years that inevitably it's going to happen to every manager. There's no stability. My company has had a new senior manager every single year for the past 10 years. Anytime that a promotion is offered to management, everyone in that department will look around and be like, who wants to get fired? Because that promotion comes with unrealistic standards, expectations, and the extra dollar in pay isn't worth it. In fact, I remember talking to this girl that worked at the Dollar General for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And she saw hundreds of people leave. And if you've ever worked in retail, the turnover rates are staggering. A new Susie Rottencrotch walks into that job every couple of days. They can't retain anyone because of a toxic work environment, low pay, and management. Management that looks at you and says, and this is what my former boss at Walmart used to say. It's like, I know that one's not going to stay. Why should I even bother to train them? That's how you get with Gen Z. It's like, why even bother? Why waste your time spending your resources training someone that you know isn't going to stay? Because you have nothing to offer them. You have no stability. You have no benefits. There's no path. It's just a McJob. I've been saying this for months now. Every job suddenly became McDonald's because in the future, every restaurant is Taco Bell. And you're kind of like, well, what does that mean to me? It means that there's no potential for you to grow in a position, especially if that position starts out low paying. If you're making the minimum wage, the reason you're making minimum wage is because they needed to find someone desperate enough. A person with 3 to 5 years of experience, along with a couple of bachelor's degree and a master's degree. That may sound like I'm being facetious. I'm not. That job description is out there on Indeed right now. And sadly, because these college graduates come out every December and every May, these universities, especially these liberal arts universities, are putting out students. More and more, tens of thousands of students that are going to come out here and look for jobs that don't exist. They're coming out here looking for jobs that simply don't exist. And the jobs that they do have to take, they don't like. And because there's no investment on the part of the corporation into their workers anymore, they're setting them up to fail. They're seeing if they can get a good solid 3 to 6 months out of them at most. But aside from that, there's no real benefit to hiring low level workers. They can't be trained and they have no interest. They're they've been jaded. They have been subjected to poor working conditions ever since they started looking for a job. Imagine you're in high school. You take a job at a grocery store. You go to college. You look for a job after college. And the best job that you can get is the job that you had while you were in high school. It also starts paying you more because you move up from cashier to work in the meat department or something. And now you're making $2 above minimum wage. Imagine fast forwarding your life and you're 60 years old and you're still working in that same type of work. Let's say you just turned 30 or 40 and you've been looking for a job your whole life and all you can get is truly entry level jobs where you know that you're not going to have any sort of financial success in your life. That's how I feel right now. There is no financial success anymore. There's just there's just an inability to do more for yourself. And most people that I know will work a job, will work just a job. But even those jobs are, they know that at a certain point, they're beating a no longer breathing horse when it comes to people at the bottom. Even Amazon knows that after 6 months, your warehouse workers are toast because the work is hard and the circumstances outside of work are even harder. I've seen so many interviews with people who work at Amazon who come home to cry in the shower because there's nothing there. Their feet hurt. It's mindless and repetitive. It's dangerous. But what else are they supposed to do? You take the job that you can get. And I think that for many people, it's not going to be the job that they want or ever be a job that they will ever want. Talking point number 2. You can't build a future where there's no foundation. Companies love to complain about retention, but refuse to offer living wages, decent hours, or mental health support. Gen Z isn't interested in climbing the ladder when the ladder leads nowhere or collapses mid-step. If you're offering survival, don't expect devotion. Ouch. Why is why is our relationship with work such so intricately related to our relationship with other people? You know, we all meet these shady uh individuals, right? In all different walks of life. I mean, you could be walking through the grocery store, you could be at the gym, could be at work. But we meet people that feel crummy, right? When you go into a job interview and you start talking to this person and they ask you about, what kind of salary were you thinking about? And you throw out there, you lowball it, right? Because you really need this job. You're thinking maybe $40,000 a year. And they laugh and they smile and they look at you like, we were thinking more like 25,000 a year. And you scratch your head and you look at the person, it's like, what am I supposed to buy with $25,000 a year? And they look at you like, we're not looking for people that need money. We're looking for people that want to come to work and do a good job. We're looking for people who come to work and want to work like the owner. We want people who don't need money working here, but we want absolute dedication. And if that's not you, then we shouldn't hop into bed together because You know what we have to offer, and don't make this complicated. It's simple. You pull down your pants, they get what they want, you get nothing out of it except for crying in the shower because you got used. And that's every job in America with its McPaycheck. You come to work to get used, to be exploited, to offer as little of yourself as humanly possible. No worker making an unlivable wage shows up and thinks, you know what? I'm just going to work my way up. This isn't the 1950s. As much as America wants to believe this is a great, amazing country, most of us are apartment poor, like myself. There's no chance I'm ever going to make 10% of a down payment on a home that's mediocre, an entry level home that costs $400,000 in a part of town that I would prefer not to live in. That's unrealistic for most people. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to live in your dinky apartment with the paint peeling off and the floors. Oh my God, I cleaned the floors for the first time yesterday in this apartment. I swear to God, they were glowing black. Like I looked at the mop and I was just like, Jesus Christ. This is why if I walk around barefoot in my apartment, my feet turn jet black. And I don't know why I mentioned that other than this is where we live. Luckily, I don't have a roach problem. But a roach problem living in a place like this, it's just about getting the wrong neighbors. Dirty, filthy, disgusting neighbors. Because I didn't have a problem with roaches until filthy people moved in. And guess what? The proletariat, that's the standard for the proletariat, is being dirty. And a lot of it has to do with just simply not having time. All right, I better get to talking point number 3 before I run out of time, speaking of which. Modern work culture feels more like a scam than a career. Mandatory fun, pizza parties instead of pay raises. We're like family, gaslighting. It's all performative. Gen Z through the lies and treats Gen Z sees through the lies and treats jobs with the same energy they're given. Transactional, short term, and with an exit plan always ready. Because in the end, the job always loves profit more than people. Profit before people. Thoughts and prayers for the poor. Because at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to. Thoughts and prayers for people that will never make enough money to survive. It's what we say in every tragic event. Thoughts and prayers. Raise the wages? Oh no, we can't do that. We can't raise wages because then inflation will go up and then everyone will have to pay more. What's the number one excuse you hear? It's like, well, if they raise wages, the job that I have right now that pays, I don't know, $40 an hour is going to not mean as much because inflation is going to take away my money. That's the argument that they constantly use as for why wages can't be increased because they will be gotten rid of, and the people that will suffer from those wage increases are the people that are actually getting by right now. Scraping by, but getting by. Everyone's always afraid of inflation. And look at it. It's out of control. I haven't had a raise in 3 years. You think inflation isn't hurting a person like me? My wages aren't buying what they were buying 3 years ago. But they don't care. Remember, your financial problems are not the problems of the corporation. The corporation doesn't need you. The corporation wants you to come to work and feel obligated to bust your hump for them so they can benefit from you, not you. You're not supposed to benefit from this in any way. Remember, you're the one night stand. Evil Corp shows up at around 10 o'clock at night. They're ready. They're in the mood. You're not sure about it, but they know what they want. They want record profits from behind. And you just have to be like, well, okay, we can do this one more time, but not after this. But what do you have? What can you leverage to get out of such a toxic situation when you have nothing? except for that sweet, sweet booty. That's all you have to offer. That's what we all have to offer. And it's not enough. At the end of the day, I'll say it. I'm going to say it every day until I'm blue in the face. We need to do better as a society. We need more accountability from these large corporations and their lust for record profits while their employees are on food stamps, Section 8 housing, and require government health care because Evil Corp doesn't want to provide it. They keep you part time for a reason because it's even acknowledging. Imagine that. Acknowledge this. Evil Corp doesn't even want a full time relationship with you. They want to keep you part time on their schedule when they're ready. And when they're not into it, you don't work. But you still have to pay rent. You still have to find a way to make a living, even though Evil Corp's not willing to play. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.